Paul from PK Cleaning. Yeah, I'm just out in Chester today, cleaning windows, and it's a mad hot day, 28 degrees. I've got the aircon on. I hope it's not interfering with the sound. If it is, it's tough. But I've got a hot topic to talk about. And yeah, I've had a call recently, and the topic is the problems in scaling regular window cleaning business. Better turn that off. And yeah, so I got a call off a gentleman called Jacob, young lad called Jacob. He's building up a window cleaning business, and a few things that he told me. He said that he's got 236 customers. He's been going for just over a year, and he's got one staff. Pays him £85 a day. And his average price is £12.50, but for the first 6 months he reduces the price by 20%, so it sort of brings his average down to about £10. And he was asking for advice about go-carless specifically to start with. So he was saying, like, you know, getting people, he's having trouble getting people on go-carless, and he was talking about, you know, he's got some customers who owe him money, yeah, as we all do. And he's trying to get them on go-carless, and yeah, he struggles. And yeah, so he's just asking about that. But a few things that I had to say to him is about his pricing. There was a few different things. Now, you know, let me just tell you where I've been doing this for about 11 years, something like that. And you know, I can give a good analogy. I do a lot of fell walking, so I go up in the fells, I go walking, and you know, you're building a regular window cleaning business. It's a bit like that, because you go up a fell and you think, oh, there's the, well, it's only up there, I've got to get to the summit, you know, get to the top. And yeah, up there, be up there in 15, 20 minutes, half an hour. You get up there and then you realise it's not the top. The summit's further up there, you know, and there's some fells where you think, oh, there's the summit there, oh God. And then you get up there, that's not even the summit. You've got to keep going. And building a regular window cleaning building a regular window cleaning business and trying to grow it, if you try to scale, it's a bit like that. So, and Jacob's talking through his figures, it just made me think about when I started out, you know, because let's just talk about price. In my opinion, £12.50 is too cheap for average price. It's way too cheap for your average price. You know, because, you know, if you were talking about a semi-detached, I've £12.50, it's still too cheap, yeah. But an average price, you're going to have big houses, they've got conservatories and all that sort of stuff. And now, don't get me wrong, I made exactly the same sort of errors when I started out. I was cheap. When I started out 11 years ago, I was like £7.50 for a semi-detached, and that was relatively cheap, yeah. But it's a mistake. But when you're starting out, you just want to get customers in. It's all about supply and demand, right? If you've got lots of time, right, and you've not got a lot of customers, you just need to get money in. You need to build your customers up, and so you're going for growth, aren't you? And it's not until way later you realise, you know, you've got a lot of underpriced work. You know, you've got a lot of problematic work. And so, you know, it's like you've got to the first summit of the fell, okay? Now, 236 customers, it's a start. It's not a massive amount of customers, but he's done well. You know, this is not a criticism of anyone. I started out like that, and I got to that first summit exactly the same, yeah? I had work that was, some of it was problematic, some of it was underpriced, well, lots of it was underpriced. Now, having said that, when I was charging £7.50, I remember there was a guy that came into the area, and he was like, how much do you charge? Like, well, £7.50 for a semi. He's like, oh, I charge £3. Oh, okay. And I think he was trying to frighten me, put the fear, and it had completely the opposite effect, because you just do the maths. £3, how many cleans can he do a day? You know, he's never going to be able to employ staff. He's never going to get the best equipment. He's never going to get, you know, he's just not going to be at scale. And so I was always trying to build up some vans and scale, so it was never. I didn't see him as a threat. Yeah, he was trying to threaten me, but it didn't come across. To me, it wasn't a threat, and that's the problem with being too cheap. You know, too many guys come into window cleaning and they don't do the maths. You know, they just don't do the maths. I mean, this van that I'm in, with all the equipment, the diesel heater and everything, you're looking at 60 grand. Signage and all that sort of stuff, ladders, it all mounts up, right? And you know, it's like you get customers sometimes, they say, oh, you know, they don't see the value, some customers, and I'll get on to more about customers in a minute. They don't see the value. You're only here 5 minutes, you know, 20 quid or whatever, you know, they don't see that you've got maybe 2 staff, you've got, you know, 60 grand's worth of cleaning equipment there. Some of the customers don't see the value, you know, and not customers that I need on my books. That's the way I look at it. Okay, so yeah, so getting back to Jacob, so 236 customers. Now, what he said to me was, because I said to him, well, we charge £15 for a semi minimum. Yeah, in fact, two windows, it's 15 quid. That's our minimum price. I've never looked back since I sort of had a minimum price. I think everyone window cleaning should have a minimum price. You don't want to be doing 2 windows for 2 quid or 5 quid or whatever. Yeah, have a minimum price. And he said, well, they won't pay that round here, right? So what you're doing there, you're letting your customers dictate what prices you set, but it just doesn't make sense. Now, one guy that I read his books, and he's on the internet a lot, is Alex Hormozy. And it's not his concept that he came up with, but he talks about it in one of his books. So there's 100 million sales, there's $100 million dollars offers. Good books, I recommend them. He says, you know, what you see is it's the size of the pie fallacy. Okay, so if you imagine that's your business, okay, and that's maybe a competitor that you see, okay, and you might see a couple of those. You imagine the size of the pie from that, yeah. And to be honest, you blinkered, right? The size of the pie is huge. You know, window cleaning, external cleaning, gutter cleaning, all that sort of stuff. Massive amount of work out there, right? That's really good news. Tons of work out there, right? So why would you restrict yourself to getting customers who don't want to pay you the right price? Yeah, not paying you a price which I think long term you are not going to be able to make a decent profit on. Okay, so coming back to Jacob, the other thing is what I didn't understand. I said, well, 85 quid for staff. You're not going to be able to scale a business. You know, you can't pay people crap money, basically. Minimum wage. Obviously, he mustn't be the driver, this guy. You know, so what I imagine is Jacob's a driver. The other guy's probably a family member or a really good mate who needs work, right? And, you know, 85 quid, it's a wage. But how are you going to scale? How are you going to get to that next summit? You know, how are you going to get? You're not, because you can't, take it from me, you cannot pay guys 85 quid to drive a van, you know, to be the driver, go out, be responsible, communicate well with customers, do a good conscientious job. No, it's not going to work. You know, even if you're paying them really good wages and a bonus, right? Staff have always they're going to value their time more than what you're paying them. I can guarantee that. Okay, so if you're only paying them £11.44, which is quite decent, a few years ago it was like 9 quid, you know, massive inflation in terms of minimum wage. But if you're only paying them minimum wage, good luck, because there's loads of businesses out there struggling to get staff now, and they're going to be paying them a lot more. So, you know, why they'd want to go out in all weathers cleaning windows, I don't know. What I did talk to him was about all customers are not the same. You know, and if there's certain customers in a certain area don't want to pay you the right price, and you should know what that price is. You decide what that price is, not them. Yeah. you go somewhere else, get other customers, attract different customers. And I was sort of saying to him, if you look at, you know, the totality of window cleaning customers out there, right, then there's a small percentage, I'd say 5-10%, don't want a window cleaner at any price. They don't want them. They're not bothered, okay? 5-10% gone, okay? Then there's probably 15-20%, maybe 25% is going to be another lot. Yeah, they want the windows cleaning, but it's got to be rock bottom price. It's got to be really rock bottom price. They're not too fussy if the job's done well or whatever, but the rock bottom price, okay? And then there's a whole bunch, I would say 25-30%. they don't want a regular window clean. They want a couple of cleans. Right? I mean, I went to one of our older customers who can clean his windows for a long time, and his son and daughter-in-law were there. And he said, "Oh, my son needs a window cleaner, don't you?" Whatever. And he said, "Well, yeah, a couple of cleans at least." Now that is a thing now, right? Especially now, times are hard. There's a lot of customers out there just want a couple of cleans, which is why you need a minimum number of cleans. You need in your terms and conditions, minimum service agreement, yeah. And you'll find a lot of customers will just have the minimum service agreement. That's what they'll have, yeah. Which is odd because we do offer one-off window cleaning, get a one-off, but why would they go for a one-off when they can have the minimum service agreement? So, yeah, but so you don't want to be attracting them customers, you know. Then there's a whole bunch that, yeah, they want the windows cleaning. They'll say they might want to pay the right price or, you know, a fair price, you know, but they don't want to do direct debit. You know, they want to pay you when it suits them for whatever reason. You know what I mean? They're not going to make it easy. You've got to come and collect, yeah. And if they're in, if you're lucky, they're in, and whatever, you know, or pay you by bank transfer or whatever. But yeah, but what are you going to do if they don't pay you by bank transfer? So, no, we only do direct debit, go cardless, and that's probably 30% of customers. They don't want to do that. Don't want to do direct debit. They want control over when they pay the bill. Okay, and so there's not a lot of customers left, is there? You know, and this is what I was trying to tell him. You know, you've got to be a bit fussy. You know, that's an example of the 80-20 rule in window cleaning, right? You know, I just want those 20%. You know, I want the customers who are going to pay me a good price. They want the regular cleaning, or they want a one-off clean, but they're willing to pay the price. They're willing to pay me via direct debit, yeah, and I'm happy, they're happy. What they need, I can supply. What I need, they can supply. That is business, okay? So yeah, well, I'm looking at a quarter of possible customers, yeah. You know, I said to him, I said in January, because this is going back a few months when I was talking to Jacob, just had our best week in January ever, and I'd got 20 customers in that week signed up on direct debit for regular window cleaning, yeah. And that's our best week in January ever. You know, January's not, I wouldn't say it was the best time for getting new customers, but I was really chuffed with that. So and I was saying, but you know, how many customers do you think I quoted for? 20, bearing in mind that some are not going to like the price, some are not going to want to do direct debit, yeah. There's all these different, you know, some don't want to sign in for a minimum 6 term, you know, window cleaning term, yeah. So, yeah, a lot more than 20 in that week, yeah. So yeah, we talked about that, and these are the problems. So when you start out, it's like you've got rose tinted glasses. It's a new customer here, new customer there, new customer there, you know, all these new customers. And, you know, you can get them quick. You can, because, you know, you look at that. If I wanted to target that bottom end, right, really easy. I could just go on Facebook. I'd put, you see them all the time. I'd put a post up, new lad, just started out in window cleaning, and looking for work, no job too small or large, minimum price £5, something like that, or whatever. And I literally would get hundreds of replies. I need my windows cleaning. The whole street needs, we all need our windows cleaning here. Come round and give us a price. Okay? I could target that bottom end. Yeah? But it's not how you build a business. Can't build a business on that, because you're not getting enough money, you're not earning enough profit. You're lucky. If you're desperate and you just want to put some food on the table and short term, yes, might be okay for you. I don't know. And this is what I'm saying. It's all about supply and demand. When you start out, you're going to be cheap. Yeah. Now, if you want to target the other end, it's a little bit different. And it's all about supply and demand. You need to communicate to customers that you are oversubscribed. Yeah. You've got a queue of people waiting for your services. Okay. It's like when I was young, Mum and Dad used to go to Chippy, and there was a chippy near us called Kids, famous chippy in Salford called Kids. And I went there once. I think I spent 30p and I got about 30 chips. It was expensive. Okay, but we'd go every Friday, and the portions were really small. Fish was small, so I'd have 2 fish and chips. Mum and Dad and my sister would all have 2 fish and chips, and there'd be a queue out the door, people, and they'd all be going in and having 2 fish and chips. Okay, they were expensive. Didn't stop having a queue out the door. Okay, so that's coming back to price again. You've got to offer a good service, good quality job. It's not just about the window cleaning, it's about the whole package. Yeah. So, and that's what Kids were doing. You could see the queue, right? Problem with window cleaning is it's difficult to communicate that you've got a queue of people, that you are oversubscribed, and you haven't got a lot of supply, but there's a lot of demand for your services. But the easiest way is to put your prices up, right? If you've got higher prices, that's communicating that you're sought after. Your service is sought after. There's one or two other ways, but I'm not going to go into that now. Maybe in the future. But yeah, put your prices up. Communicating so those people, you're in demand. Okay, gives you a bit more authority. So yeah, then the other thing was churn. Okay, well, let's go back to the Go Carless actually. So we're talking about the Go Carless. He was saying, well, they won't pay that round here, and they won't go on Go Cardless, the bad payers. Well, they won't, because they didn't want to pay you in the first place, mate. I've been through all that, right? I made the decision at one point, if they owed me 2 or 3 cleans, I wasn't going to clean anymore until they paid the bill and they went on direct debit. And eventually, I wouldn't stop cleaning, but I'd knock on, and eventually I'd get me cash, and they wouldn't go on direct debit. Very few, 1 in 10% would go on to direct debit, because they didn't want to do that in the first place. They just wanted the windows cleaning. Yeah, not bothered about paying you, or not thinking about that. But I could do my windows cleaning, So yeah, so I was telling him, no, the best time to get people on direct debit is at the start. Yeah, and you attract those customers who are happy going on direct debit. They pay all the bills through direct debit because it makes life easy for them. Makes life a lot easier for you, doesn't it? Because now you don't have to go and collect.